We have rumors flying all over the place when it comes to Xbox and Sony's PlayStation buying out new studios. We just saw Square Enix sell off most of their Western studios. We hear about rumors that Sony is going to buy someone out pretty soon. We also have Xbox dealing with the Activision Blizzard deal. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of studios up for grabs. Let's get into what is being said and if Ubisoft, WB Games, and all these other publishers and studios are going to be involved. This stuff is getting crazy, so let's just get right into it. Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, hit that small little bell icon. And if you want to go that extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. All right. Enough of that. Let's get right into these publishers, studios, developers, and the entire companies basically being bought out. The first thing we have to talk about is Square Enix selling off Crystal Dynamics and Edios Montreal. This deal was done for $400 million, and the Embracer Group is the team that bought them out. Now, I know people are wondering how this ties into Xbox and Sony, and we'll get to that, so just be a little patient. So the first thing about this deal is that Crystal Dynamics and Edios Montreal as studios have had a really bad couple of years. They've lost Square Enix a lot of money and just haven't been profitable in quite some time. This is the studio that made the Tomb Raider games, the Avenger games, and of course the awesome Guardians of the Galaxy game. So while they've made some great games, they've also made some pretty average games. They're obviously a very talented bunch of developers, and we bring this up because of one thing. Square Enix wanted to sell them off because some of these Marvel properties cost them upwards of $200 million of lost money. That's a massive loss to take on, and it's a huge reason why Square Enix has sold them off. Which brings us right around to Sony and Square Enix rumors. This has been something floating around for a very long time, and a couple of well-respected insiders and journalists had something to say about it. Here's what Jez Gordon had to say. Sony acquiring Square Enix Japanese operations would be a great acquisition for PlayStation. Helps them with a lot of areas they're a bit thin on, MMO, mobile. Back catalog contains lots of games ideal for subscription and cloud. This was said by Jez Gordon, a very well-respected journalist that's truly one of the best people reporting on gaming right now. But in case he wasn't enough, here's what Jeff Grubb had to say about the whole thing. Okay, I've said this 1,000 times, but there's always someone who is hearing it for the first time. We never really hear enough to report on acquisitions with any certainty. Sony acquiring Square was the big rumor, but I cannot confirm that, and I continue to not know. Anyway, now you know as much as I do. I do believe that Square Enix is trying the best position itself for acquisition, but that doesn't mean anything. These deals can fall through or get completely flipped on their heads. That happens all the time. Okay, so this is something that was rumored for a very long time, and not just Square Enix. People were talking about From Software and Sony was going to buy them. Think about this for just a second. Sony has been on a buying spree the last year and a half. Long gone are the dumb narratives of them growing organically with their studios, something that they kind of raised their eyebrow and pinky up to Xbox. They're out there buying like crazy just like everyone else, because this generation hasn't turned into the hardware race like everyone thought it would. What's really important is the content and getting more content into gamers' hands on your platform. And if we look at what Sony has paid for Bungie and those other studios they bought, it's obvious to see they're willing to spend big money on even one IP like Destiny and one studio like Bungie. Which brings us to Square Enix and their properties, which Sony has a very good relationship with. By getting rid of Crystal Dynamics and Edios Montreal is positioning themselves to be acquired by somebody. Obviously those studios, while talented, were a massive undertaking for anyone, and it would cost a lot of money to take them on. Not to mention, they have a lot of debt to fill out after they had some blunders releasing in the last couple of years. And just like Jez said after the Square in his tweet, this could be huge for Sony because it helps them in a lot of areas they lack in, which is MMO games and mobile games. The MMO is obviously Final Fantasy, which has turned into one of the biggest MMOs on the market bar none. Not to mention they have a massive cloud and mobile base they could work with. This would go a long way into making Sony a big player in the PC market and the mobile market. Not to mention, they get massive IPs that would help them in the Japanese market. A market, by the way, they're losing to Nintendo currently. So I think they want to get that market back. I think they want to jump into the PC market and also jump into the mobile market just so they can expand. That was one of the big reasons they bought Bungie, because they can play on multiple platforms. And Jim Ryan himself said they're trying to go multi-platform. But now, let's move over to WB Games, which has been in the rumor mill for what seems like years. Well, it's looking like they're back at it again when it comes to being bought out by multiple studios and publishers, Sony and Xbox being at the center of all of it. Here's what's being reported. According to FanBytes, Imran Khan, Warner Bros. Discovery may be shopping their game studios and licensed IPs, i.e. Batman, Superman, Harry Potter, around the industry. Khan noted that major industry names such as Microsoft, Sony, Electronic Arts, Take-Two, and more are interested in acquiring these studios. It's unclear if Warner Bros. Would keep any IP or teams for itself or would sell everything in bulk. It's also equally unclear if it would be willing to divide up IP and studios to different buyers. Either way, Khan stated he doesn't have enough information to confidently write up an official report, so this should be taken with a grain of salt. Okay, so the first thing I have to say is that WB Games has been really quiet the last couple of years. In fact, they haven't released that many games at all and are delaying a lot of their releases. Gotham Knights and the new Harry Potter games are coming out at the tail end of this year, so that's something we all can get excited for. But as for the studios and the publishers being sold off, I think this has a lot of merit to it. There is a lot of moving going on at WB and Discovery. They're locking things down, firing a lot of people, restructuring their management, a crazy amount of content on hand. And it's looking like they might just want to unload a lot of the gaming studios they have on their payroll. Now, as for Xbox buying them, I could see this happening, but it would have to happen next year, if not later. We have to remember, everyone, Xbox is about to make the biggest gaming purchase in history with Activision Blizzard. They're knee-deep in that right now with the FTC and are going to be working on this until the end of the year at the very least. So I have a feeling if anything does happen, Xbox will have to wait and we'll all have to wait and see. As for Sony, I think they're in talks with Square Enix like it's been rumored, so I have a feeling they might be out of the race also. Now, of course, things can change, and this is all fluid, so maybe Sony does have something up their sleeves to buy this and completely corner the market on superhero video games and lock down those licenses like they did with Spider-Man. Now, as for Take-Two and EA, that could be something they look into because they're massive publishers and could use a lot of the talent and IPs that are on hand with those studios. Either way, this will take months to handle, and I think we'll be in a wait and see mode. But if I had to guess, I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox went for the big IPs because that's what's important in this deal. We have to remember Batman, Superman, Harry Potter, all the DC franchises, the Lord of the Rings franchises are all tied into those studios and all tied in with Warner Brothers. If a studio, a publisher, or somebody that makes games get those locked down, that would be huge. But they would have to pay big money because if you look at how much IPs are going for right now, they're pretty massive, especially ones that sell well, which DC and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter tend to do. And that's most of the news going around right now. Square Enix being bought by Sony, WB Games being split up or bought outright by some publishers. We also have rumors about Ubisoft trying to combat takeovers from certain companies and having private sectors buy them just so they can avoid a big company taking them over. The gaming market is changing drastically, and I have a feeling by the end of this year, it's going to look wildly different. Who knows, Activision Blizzard deal might fall through, or it could finish earlier and Xbox becomes a massive powerhouse in the gaming market yet again, especially the PC market. We could have Sony buy out a bunch of new studios and publishers so they could combat what Xbox is doing. Or we could have Ubisoft be completely different and see them join a massive publisher if they get bought out. There's so many moving pieces that it becomes almost overwhelming. No matter what, I'm going to be there watching it all unfold, and I'll try my best to keep everyone updated as best as possible. Because right now, I think the whole industry is just waiting on the Xbox Activision Blizzard deal. They want to see how that pans out, and once that's done, we'll start to see a lot of studios and publishers making their moves and buying new studios and actually making release dates for their games. But enough of what I think about all of this. Tell me what you think about this. Do you think Sony buys Square Enix? Were you surprised by the recent buyout from Embracer Group? Who do you want to see get WB Games? Will WB Games even sell? What other publishers can you see get in the mix? Will we see even more studios being sold? Or is this just a lot of rumors and in the next 2 years, the gaming industry is going to look a lot different? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button to support us out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I've been playing a bunch of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think I've been playing this for the last week and a half or 2 weeks. I stopped playing Elden Ring because I was having so much fun with it, but you know what? After a while, you need to take a break from a game, step away, and then come back later to it. And that's what I'm doing with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I took a break from it, stepped away, but now I'm back in it, and I'm having a blast. The game is actually pretty fun. I know it's a little more murky and a little more so-called depressing because it's in England and it's very dark and it's gloomy, but sometimes, man, that game just grabs you and you're just having a lot of fun. I love the puzzles, I love the combat, I love everything about it, and I can't wait to get into the Dawn of the Ragnarok, which is far more mythical. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on your PC, your Xbox Series X, or are you on your PS5 playing something? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for. It's to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.